Welcome to the session, everyone. Today, I want to talk about supplement superstars. So, those are the supplements that have the best bang for your buck and for the time put into taking supplements and the amount of supplements that you could take. There's so many supplements you could use for the benefit of your health and the health of your families. But there are just really a handful of the ones that really can cover a lot of ground with very few products because we want to eat. We don't want to be taking meals of supplements. So have a listen, and I hope you enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Family Health Revolution podcast with Coach Carla Atherton, where she discovers, uncovers, explores, and reveals the secrets to true family health and wellness.
All right, so today I wanted to talk about, or I'm going to talk about, supplement superstars. So these are the supplements that I consider the best bang for your buck because they are so important for many different processes in the body. So they are very far-reaching in their effects and their medicinal benefits for many, many different, not just downstream diagnoses or illnesses or conditions, but really the upstream effects on the body so that we don't get those in the first place. So they can be both, therapeutic, right? So we use them to actually up or balance or, improve or increase our levels of those specific nutrients. But also they are maintenance and they're prevention. So I always say eat good food, whole foods first and foremost, organic and such. And we talked all about that in a previous episode when we talked about the only food rules. But sometimes we need to supplement. And again, it's maybe something therapeutic. And along with supplements, we can also use herbs and adaptogens. And we can also use specific foods in particular to help with raise a certain nutrient that will, the downstream effect is actually alleviating some kind of health condition. And a good example of that would be mental health, right? So we need certain nutrients to improve mental health. And, some of those would be like zinc or B vitamins, omegas, to make sure that we're decreasing any sort of inflammation, but also improving the building blocks of actually healthy brains and neurochemicals. So we need those specific things. But what I want to talk about today are those supplements that are going to be so far reaching that really it can help our bodies to maintain and prevent and reverse most conditions by providing the building blocks necessary for many different processes of the body. So that's why these guys are the superstars. And I also think that in our day and age, because our food doesn't always have the nutritional value it once did, our soils are depleted, and polluted, actually, we probably need some kind of supplement or another. And that can be decided on using all the principles and guidelines that I gave when I talked about supplementing. And I think that was the last episode. It was episode number 7 for sure. So check that out so that you know a little bit more about selecting the specific supplements that you might want to use. But really, if you were going to take, a handful of things that would be the most beneficial for you, and even if you had some kind of condition, this is actually even the basis of what I start people with, even when we have a targeted approach and we know certain things like deficiencies or a neurochemical imbalance, or they've got some kind of infection or a mold illness or environmental illness, or they need to detoxify. All those things may require a specific list or protocol that is individualized always. But I usually start people with the basics that I'm going to give you the quick and dirty about right now. So vitamin D3. So D3 and K2 need to be taken together. They're synergistic. D3 is a fat soluble vitamin. It's actually not a vitamin, it's a hormone, and it can be produced by, like, it's actually, the hormone is actually stimulated. So the body will produce it if you get enough sun exposure. But most people don't get enough sun exposure especially in northern climates. It doesn't have to be cold necessarily, just not necessarily enough sun during the day or sun exposure to produce enough. And so, and people are spending a lot of time inside, especially in the winter, sometimes even in the summer. Get outside, everybody. But if you're not getting outside enough and you have something like even an autoimmune condition, autoimmunity is actually very closely related to a D3 deficiency. It's not the only component or factor in autoimmunity in any way, shape, or form, but it certainly is one of the things that is a contributing factor. So we want vitamin D. And so why? Because it helps to improve immune function, bone health, mood balancing deficiency, and it's also associated with autoimmunity. Also, buffered vitamin C. Vitamin C is next on the list. Actually, it's not number 2. All these are actually equally important. I just have to say one. I just have to list one at a time. But buffered vitamin C, I like the form of ascorbate. And there is, most of it comes as ascorbic acid, which is okay, but ascorbate is much better and bioavailable to the body. And I like a variety. So there's actually a product we get called C8 and C8. Let's say the number 8, and it actually has 8 different sources of vitamin C. So it has magnesium ascorbate and calcium ascorbate and sodium ascorbate and 5 others. So we want buffered vitamin C, and why? So helps improve immune function, is protective against heavy metal toxicity, improves tissue growth and repair, is a part of that process, and is an antioxidant and vasodilator. Okay. Zinc in the elemental form, hyper good for immune function. Like zinc is actually one of the things that's always on my list along with vitamin C and D for that immune boosting stack. If you want to take a good bunch of supplements that's going to keep your immune system robust and infection down, you're going for some zinc as well. Careful with zinc. You don't want to be taking that on an empty stomach. I never do. Actually makes me throw up. So it's not gonna hurt you for that to happen. But I just was hyper sensitive to it. So I always tell people vitamin C, zinc, minerals. Just make sure you've eaten something. It's late, and they're really good actually to take at bedtime, the minerals. But yeah, just careful with that, and follow all my supplement, rules, because those are really useful to help you to titrate up, start low, go slow, take all that advice. I think it's good. It's good advice. So, amazing for immune function, growth, right? So if you got a kiddo who's not growing weight really well, make sure you check your your zinc levels. Check that child's zinc levels. It's essential for growth. Also for mental health, zinc is often one of those minerals that's deficient in people who have mental health issues. And 2 other things go along with mental health would be omegas and B vitamins. So we're going to get a little deeper into the B vitamins. We're going to use that as an example with an extended little deep dive in just a couple seconds here. Zinc. Okay, so muscle, skin, and nails. Really important for muscle, skin, and nails, healthy muscle, skin, and nails. And if you are deficient in zinc, you'll often see little white marks on your fingernails. That's another way to find out your nutritional status. It's not going to tell you exactly what it is, but ridges on your nails and soft nails are actually indicators that you don't have great nutritional status. And then hormone balancing for zinc as well. Okay, so we're moving on to omega-3, healthy joints, brain health, anti-inflammatory, cardiovascular health. So hyper important for those things. Omegas are again, with all these guys, tippy top of the list. And we want really healthy brains. We want to lower that inflammation in the brain and other parts of the body. You have people that say, "Oh, I have arthritis," and often, it's if it's an inflammatory cause, if it's not autoimmune, but also actually omegas will help with autoimmune arthritis, which would be yeah. So, it's helpful for that for sure. But also, if it's just like a matter of joint pain and inflammation, you're probably deficient in some omegas. So take those omegas. And I'm going to come back to B vitamins, spore biotics or probiotics. Really important for the colonization of a proper microbiome. We want lots of good diversity, and we can do probiotics, but it's really hard to know which ones to take because there are all kinds of different strains, and it might take a more targeted approach if you've got a functional practitioner who knows how to do stool testing and such, and tell which ones you might be low in and which conditions you have and what's going to be beneficial for those specific conditions. Like, for instance, mental health, there's actually things called psychobiotics, right? So those are the probiotics that actually really influence certain neurochemicals to be produced, and really, really, really fascinating stuff. But generally speaking, and if you don't want to get into hundreds of dollars of testing, and unless you have a condition that you're working with someone on, I mean, don't get me wrong, I do this all day, every day. But if you want a general good maintenance and prevention program for your family, look into spore biotics. It's a spore-based probiotic, and those guys will help to support a healthy and diverse microbiome. Also, any sort of probiotic, but if you've got a healthy and diverse microbiome, you're going to have better immune function, better nutrient assimilation, because those bugs, those critters actually assimilate and break down your food for you. You actually, most of the time, don't do that yourself. And so again, it's going to be leading to really excellent digestive health. But we'll talk about that, about the gut, a little bit more deeply in another session, another episode. So vitamin A, immune function, excellent, excellent, excellent. It's part of my antiviral stack, is that vitamin A. Eye health, bone development, skin health, and helps to flush out toxins. We're going to go to the minerals next, magnesium and mixed minerals. And magnesium, it's been said that, or estimated that about 80% of our population is deficient in magnesium. And there could be many reasons for that, poor diet. But another one of those things is stress, because there are so many biochemical reactions that we're not going to get into today that actually are involved in the stress response. And basically, just to keep it simple, the end result is that you're peeing out your minerals. The more stressed you are, the less chance you have of hanging on to those minerals and having those minerals work in the body the way they're supposed to, and creating all those different biochemical processes that they aid in. So these mixed minerals, these trace minerals, hyper important. They're important in anxiety and depression, so mental health stuff. Magnesium is a very calming mineral, as are the rest of the minerals. They're really good to take later on in the day, but all day. You can take them all day if you want, up to bowel tolerance. I don't mean all day. I mean any time of the day, so helps with anxiety, depression, muscle relaxer. Okay, so if you have anyone who's got muscle twitches, those sorts of things, we're looking at magnesium. And combats insulin resistance, really good for bone health. And we always think that calcium's the bone health guy, but we need actually a mix of minerals, and specifically magnesium and calcium need to be in good ratios together. And magnesium tends to be the mineral that we're more deficient in, even really in comparison to calcium. So we're wanting to focus on that magnesium. Magnesium 3 and 8 is the great form for the brain and keeping you sharp, but a calm brain, but a sharp brain. And magnesium gives bisglycinate. is a little bit more calming. That's the form that is really good for nighttime. But again, this is not any personalized information for you. I'm not your doctor. This is just general information for your information only. All right, so DNA and RNA repair, that's magnesium's job as well. And as well as migraine. So that's a downstream symptom of a magnesium deficiency. It can be. Okay, so if you got people with headaches, that's part of the picture for sure, is magnesium. And then the last one I'm going to mention, well, not the last one, actually, there's a couple more, but humic and fulvic acid. This is another one relating to minerals. It's a mineral-rich byproduct, and it actually, over 80 million years, there has been pressure and temperature, right, that has sort of like compressed and created this mineral-rich humic and fulvic acids. And they're a compression of seaweed and like trees and other plants and fruits from the trees. And they get compressed and they create this humic and fulvic acids. And they're a hyper mineral-rich source. They're antiviral, immune boosting, cancer protective, and they are excellent for the brain health. So they're just like a really nice way to boost minerals. And so you can get them in a few different products. So there's lots of ways. There are tinctures and liquids, and also resin that you can get that is humic and fulvic acid. One of those things is Shilajit, actually. All right, so we're going to go into the B vitamins really quickly here, just a little bit of a deeper dive, so that you can get an idea of what I mean by downstream and upstream. So when we have the upstream nutrient, they have specific functions in the body. And then if that doesn't happen, that means that we have downstream symptoms. To alleviate those symptoms, what do? We move back upstream and we get the right nutrients and minerals. So we're going to use B vitamins as an example. So B1, B2, B3, B5, B6, B7, B9, B12. So those are all the B vitamins, and they all have names. Like, so for instance, B2 is riboflavin, B9 is folic acid, right? We know of that one. B12 is cobalamin, etc. So, and B3 is niacin. Everybody's sort of heard of niacin. So those are all the B vitamins, and they can be found in different foods. So like I said, eat foods that are rich in B vitamins. That's the best way to get them. But again, if you have issues, maybe genetic SNPs that, you're not able to process or produce or, utilize specific nutrients as well as others. If you've got a poor microbiome, if you're on any sort of healing plan, if you've got any sort of mental health stuff, things like that, we're looking at just maybe giving the body a little bit of a boost. So if we boosted or looked at maybe a deficiency in these vitamins, or maybe these B vitamins being useful in reversing or addressing any sort of downstream issue. These are examples of things that can be rectified if you were to take B vitamins, because they have, I guess, a role to play in all of these different areas. So things like cognitive function, so improvements there, and getting rid of free radicals, so reducing that. And free radicals, we don't want that. We want to get rid of these oxidizing free radicals. Regulating blood sugar levels, and again, migraines. This is another issue. Actually, I used to get migraines when I was a teenager, and then I started getting them. Actually, I still had them quite a bit out of my teens, but I realized that coffee was causing me to have migraines, so I stayed away from caffeine, but I still would get them break through. And when I was pregnant with my son, and I was taking B6 because my doctor said maybe that would help with nausea. So it's just so backwards, because B6 isn't a remedy for migraines or nausea when you're pregnant. They are actually tanking up a deficiency that actually caused those downstream effects. You see what I'm saying? So later on, it took me a while to figure that out, okay, B6, that helped me because when I was taking that when I was pregnant, the migraines went away. And then when I stopped taking it, thinking that the nausea was going away, I realized that I had migraines for 6 days straight, and realizing, oh, that was actually keeping my migraines away as well. So, but then it took me years to figure out that I'm not taking this as a treatment for my migraines. I'm taking it because it was correcting a deficiency in my body. So I don't take it anymore. I don't need to. I have a different diet and all kinds of stuff that will probably be revealed. But again, just know that it's very useful in those cases. So anti-aging, fetal development for sure, especially that folic acid. But taking it as not folic acid. We want to take it as folate. Please don't take it as folic acid. Don't get any cheap supplements that say folic acid. Get folate, and discuss this with a knowledgeable practitioner if you're pregnant. Lowers risk of macular degeneration, good for heart, helps you to break down carbs. Mood and depression, one of those key players in building proper neurochemicals as well as hormones. Okay, so and sleep quality as well. So then there's another one, gene regulation. Okay, so those are biggies. I'm going to give you a couple more, and then I'm going to let you go because it's already at the 20-minute mark. Silver and B propolis. So structured silver, or what's the other one? I can't remember the name right now. I'm getting tired. But structured silver is one of the really beneficial for immune support. And B propolis, one of our favorites in our house. Super easy to take every day. Most of it tastes pretty good. You can get really nice organic products. And B propolis, any bee products actually are really good for immune system. And actually, really, that's our main reason why we like those. And if there's even a tickle in the throat, just take a good squirt of that and you're getting better. We don't even worry about that. And then, along with other things, but I'm just going to say the bee products are really fantastic. And then I mentioned probiotics and so you can do fermented foods instead if you don't want to take pills, of spore biotics or other probiotics. And the cool thing about probiotics is that they make postbiotics, right? So first we want to feed the gut bugs. So we eat really good food and we eat nice fiber-rich prebiotic foods. Then our gut bugs are happy and they make postbiotics, which is one of them is B vitamins, right? So they actually make B vitamins within our bodies. There are little factories keeping us healthy. So we don't want to be carpet bombing those guys with a whole bunch of antibiotics when they're not necessary. But we'll talk about that in a gut health session. But we want to keep those bugs happy. And so constantly detoxing, right? So we want to be using maybe some of these things. So these things are helpful for our bodies to constantly detox and keep that detoxification going nice and tickety-boo, because we're always being exposed to a plethora of things in our environments. Eating right again. And I want to just put this out there today, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that if we get into parasites, probably I don't know, it's going to be a while before I get to that, but a yearly parasite purge, and we're talking maintenance, right? So, even if we don't think we've got parasites or a problem, there have been many, many cultures that do parasite purge every year. And there is good reason for that, because 80% of our population actually does have a parasite of some kind. And it's not necessarily a pathological where it's, overtaking or, causing any real issues, but they have the potential to do that. And so that's another thing to keep in your back pocket that we're going to be talking about in another session. So again, our superstars, we've got, let me go back to my list here. We've got vitamin D3 and K2. We've got vitamin C. We've got zinc. We've got omega-3. We've got spore biotics, vitamin A, magnesium and mixed minerals. We've got the humic and fulvic acid, B vitamin family. And keeping in mind a couple other things like, and I just lost my spot here. That's so fun. Keeping in mind other things like silver, bee propolis, and always, a detoxing kind of diet and way of life. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this session and got a lot out of it. And we'll be back next time with some more really good, juicy stuff for you. And if you want to know a little bit more about the food, the only food rules and supplementing, listen to previous episodes. They're there for the listening. All right, take care. Have a great day. May you and your family be well. And I just wanted to say before we bust off is this podcast is sponsored by the Healthy Family Formula, which essentially means that we share our information for free. All we ask is that before you move on to the next 100 things on your to-do list for today, take what you learn and instead of waiting until Monday, January 1st, or any other arbitrary date in the future, act on it now. Buy that new food, start that new routine, shift into that healthier habit. The little steps steadily move you past the miles you leave behind you. For more information about anything related to family health, do pick up my book and check out our newsletter, blog, individual and group coaching programs, and practitioner training program at healthyfamilyformula.com. And you can also like our Facebook page, facebook.com/Healthy Family Formula. Thank you for listening, as it was a pleasure to spend this time with you today. And again, may you and your family be well. Please note that Family Health Revolution podcast is not a source for diagnosis or medical treatment, but is the opinion of the host. This podcast is intended to empower people with information so they can make the best health decisions for themselves. It is up to each person to listen to their inner wisdom, consider the information they deem to be accurate and applicable to their individual situation, and consult with their trusted healthcare providers, if they so choose, when making any decisions regarding their own health or the health of their loved ones. Each person's health is their own responsibility.